Antarctica is one of the most mysterious places on Earth. It's a continent that's almost entirely covered in ice and is home to some of the most extreme conditions on the planet. Although it's a barren and remote place, Antarctica is teeming with life. Underneath the ice, there are entire ecosystems that we're only just beginning to understand. From Shackleton's lost whiskey to the zombie virus, here are the 15 scariest things found in Antarctica. Number 15. Shackleton's lost whiskey. The New Zealand Antarctic Heritage Trust found 5 crates of alcohol left behind by the expedition in 1909 owing to rising sea ice. 3 of the boxes contained whiskey from Chas McKinley and Company, while the other 2 contained brandy from Hunter Valley Distillery Limited, Allendale, Australia. 3 cases of Old Scotch and 2 cases of brandy were left behind when Shackleton gave up on his South Pole expedition due to a lack of supplies. There was no damage to the bottles, and the sound of liquid swirling about inside them could be heard when they were shaken. Due to its high alcohol content, whiskey did not freeze even when exposed to Antarctic temperatures of -30 degrees Celsius. Finding the true whiskey that this ultimate man's man likes is one thing. Experiencing the essence of death-defying, pipe-smoking, God-among-men masculinity is something quite else. Some of the bottles, if not all, will be broken because ice got inside the cases. They inserted a needle through the cork to get a taste of the scotch. They may have given scotch consumers a way to experience history through their liquor. Before we go on, like this video and subscribe with notifications, and you'll have amazing luck for the rest of the week. This new discovery on the edge of Antarctica scares scientists. Scientists have made a groundbreaking discovery on the edge of Antarctica. While searching for evidence of past climate change, they stumbled upon the ruins of an ancient civilization. The discovery has left them stunned, as it was completely unexpected and had been hidden beneath the ice for thousands of years. The team of researchers was immediately filled with excitement and curiosity as they examined the ruins. They could see that the civilization had been quite advanced, with intricate carvings and elaborate structures. It was clear that this was no ordinary society, and the scientists were eager to learn more about it. As they delved deeper into their investigation, the scientists began to uncover more and more clues about this mysterious civilization. They found evidence of advanced technologies, sophisticated systems of government, and a rich cultural history. The discovery of the ancient civilization ruin on the edge of Antarctica has sent shockwaves through the scientific community, and people around the world are eager to learn more about this mysterious and long-lost society. What do you think about this discovery? What secrets do you think it holds? And what can we learn from it about our own history? Number 14. Arctic Sea Spiders. With their 8 slender legs, basic bodies, and lengthy proboscis, sea spiders seem like they were plucked from the nightmares of an arachnophobic science fiction writer. However, sea spiders are real and may be located in oceans across the globe. Furthermore, sea spiders may grow to be as big as your face, with legs that can traverse the dark, icy waters of the polar oceans. Antarctic sea spiders live at depths of more than 1,800 meters throughout the whole continent's coast. Although they look like spiders, Antarctic sea spiders are not true spiders. They're neither shrimp nor crabs either. Sea spiders belong to the marine arthropod family Piscinogonida. Few facts are known regarding polar gigantism. It has been the subject of several hypotheses, but no definite explanation has been settled on as of yet. Antarctic sea spiders, according to one group of researchers, may hold the key to solving this massive mystery. First, they needed to go out and get some marine spiders so that they could prove their theory. The good news is that sea spiders are completely harmless to people. They are harmless and non-venomous. They don't go anywhere in particular, they just swim around the ocean floor looking for food or a partner. Number 13. Meteorite with life. An igneous rock over 4 billion years old that is primarily composed of the mineral orthopyrosine is known as the Allen Hills 84001 ALH 8401 Martian meteorite. In 1984, it was discovered in Antarctica, and since then, scientists have studied it to better understand the planet's origins. Interest was piqued because some scientists claim to have found microscopic fragments of fossilized microorganisms in the sample. Meteorites are fragments of space rock that made it through an asteroid or comet's impact with Earth. ALH 84001 weighed in at 1.93 kilograms when it was first created. Despite such conclusions being contested by other scientists, the origins of its organic components are still up for discussion. According to this theory, ALH 84001 was blasted off the surface of Mars by a meteorite impact some 17 million years ago and fell on Earth about 13,000 years ago, even though these dates were obtained by multiple different radiometric dating techniques. Other meteorites with putative biological markings have received less attention than the Mars ice dust, since they do not originate from a wet Mars. During this time period, only ALH 84001 was found to be a meteorite. Number 12. World War II base. In the Arctic, Russian researchers discovered a secret Nazi military base. Construction on the site began in 1942, a year after Hitler's invasion of Russia, on the island of Alexandraland, which is located about a kilometer from the North Pole. The team now thinks that the island of Alexandraland was the site of an alleged Nazi base known as Schatzgraber or Treasure Hunter, which was built at Adolf Hitler's personal behest. Several hundred items associated with the Nazis were recovered there. Researchers exploring the uninhabited island, which is now a part of Russia, uncovered over 500 relics, including the ruins of bunkers, abandoned gas cans, and even written letters. The freezing temperatures on the island helped keep these relics in good condition. In 1944, when the scientists stationed there became sick from eating polar bear flesh, the outpost was abandoned and the polar bears were shot. Although Alexandraland has been a source of contention for quite some time, it is now officially part of the Russian Federation, and there are allegations that Russia plans to create a permanent military outpost there. The most we can hope for is that they have learned their lesson and will never again consume polar bear flesh. Number 11. Striped icebergs. White, immaculate icebergs are the image that most people get when they think of Antarctica. Colorful icebergs in unexpected patterns, blue, green, yellow, and even brown, are the furthest thing from what you may imagine. These occur as a result of salt water permeating vertical cracks in the ice shelf when it breaks away from the base. Seawater seeps up through the glacier's light-colored cracks and freezes, creating a black stripe. At the ice shelf's underside, the water freezes due to the drastic temperature change. Since the new ice on the iceberg is formed from salt water, which contains dissolved organic matter and mineral particles, it exhibits a wide range of hues and textures. As the bergs are broken up by the wind and waves, the contrasting colors in the strata may form beautiful patterns. They're hardly unheard of, but you won't hear about them very often either. Norwegian sailor Øyvind Tangen, while on a research vessel, was the first to photograph and characterize these glaciers. At the very least, they are a spectacular sight. If you're ever lucky enough to visit Antarctica, keep your eyes out for one of these amazing vistas. Number 10. Camp Scott. Captain Robert Falcon Scott was the first British explorer to reach the South Pole and extensively explore Antarctica on foot in the early 1900s. In 1911, two teams raced to the pole. The Norwegian expedition was commanded by Roald Amundsen, and the British mission was led by Robert Falcon Scott. There was just one team that returned. The goal was to investigate the area of Antarctica surrounding the Ross Sea, which Sir James Clark Ross discovered in 1841. Scott was particularly interested in learning more about the animals, climate, and geology of Antarctica. Dr. Edward Wilson, the scientist on both of Scott's journeys, collected emperor penguin embryos to study the birds. Scott achieved his objective of reaching the South Pole on January 17th to 18th, 1912. Unfortunately, Scott's crew of 5 died from famine and cold after a hard 800-mile trip back to their base camp. Rescuers discovered the tent containing the frozen victims, as well as Beardmore geological specimens, Scott's records, and his notebooks, which offered a complete description of the journey. On November 12, 1912, Scott received national accolades following his death for his bravery and patriotism. Number 9. Plane crash. Polar bears reside in the Arctic, the northernmost and coldest part of the Earth. Polar bears may survive in the North and South Poles because of the constant snow and freezing temperatures. After making an emergency landing in the Arctic, the crew of a passenger plane was devoured by polar bears. Concerns have been raised after a terrible discovery was made in 2014 by a NASA plane measuring the thickness of the ice cap above Greenland. It was revealed that a plane had crashed and burned when 2 charred wings emerged from the fresh snow. as a result of its isolation and the dangers posed by nearby storms and unseen ice crevasses. The location posed a high risk to anyone who ventured there. Experts in imaging eventually got near enough to the wreckage, though, and saw something far more disturbing. Polar bear tracks were discovered beside the plane. It's possible the animals attacked the airliner after it crashed. Polar bears are less likely to actively target humans for nutrition than other animals, but when they do, they may hunt, attack, and devour humans. Number 8. Shackleton Hut. Shackleton's Hut is a historic site consisting of a tiny hut built at Cape Royds on Ross Island, front on McMurdo Sound in Antarctica. In reality, Ernest Shackleton built the cabin with the intention of using it as a base for the doomed Nimrod expedition, which attempted to reach the South Pole between 1907 and 1909. In August of 1907, Irish Antarctic explorer Ernest Shackleton set off on the 200-ton ship Nimrod to become the first expedition to the geographic South Pole. Despite facing many obstacles, Shackleton and his small company managed to achieve many firsts, including the first ascent of Mount Erebus, the southernmost volcano on Earth. Since then, Shackleton's Hut has risen to prominence as one of Antarctica's top tourist attractions. The team's beloved cabin underwent maintenance as part of the Ross Sea Heritage Restoration Project. Restoration workers discovered 5 frozen cases of whiskey and brandy, believed to have been left there by Shackleton and his crew. There was a successful rescue when the containers were gently removed from the ice. Number 7. Polar bears. When provoked, polar bears may become extremely dangerous to humans due to their fierceness, intelligence, and ability to quickly adapt to new situations. You should never approach a polar bear on foot or in a vehicle. Instead, you should quickly flee indoors or to safety. Polar bears are seldom observed by people, and when they are, it is usually from a safe distance. This is due to the fact that polar bears, unlike other bear species, prefer to spend their time in cold, lonely regions that are geographically far from human settlements. The greatest research yet done on polar bear assaults on humans found 73 attacks over 144 years, resulting in 20 deaths. Polar bears are extremely harmful to humans since they are among the most formidable surviving predators. They have the strongest bite of any terrestrial predator at 1200 psi. The polar bear is a quick swimmer and land animal. Polar bears may attack humans if they feel threatened. However, this is extremely rare. While sightings of polar bears actively hunting humans are not unheard of, they are unusual. Any encounter with this amazing species might be lethal because of its enormous size, formidable predatory skills, and voracious nature. Number 6. Arctic sea floor. Thanks to a careful and painstaking examination of the Arctic seafloor, we now have a better understanding of life in the deepest, darkest depths. In contrast to what you might expect from an ice-covered ocean, the Arctic Ocean's seabed is alive with life. These bottom dwellers are called benthos, and the most common ones we see include brittle stars, sea cucumbers, sea stars, snails, clams, bristleworms, and on rare occasions, crabs. Benthic animals in the Arctic have also adapted to the freezing temperatures. Some biological activities, like as breathing and reproduction, take longer in cold water than in warmer water. This is not to say that species from warmer waters don't live in the Arctic benthos, but rather that these creatures thrive in cold temperatures. Arctic animals develop slowly and may live for decades as a result of their sluggish rate of life. Every trip to the mainly unknown Arctic seas brings new challenges, surprises, and discoveries. Every expedition adds to our understanding of this harsh, lonely, and tremendously dynamic ocean, as well as how it supports life on Earth. Number 5. Yeti crab. If a hairy snow boot and a crab were married and had children, they may end up looking like this. Yeti crabs are found deep in the water, typically in close proximity to hydrothermal vents and cold seeps. There are bristles on their legs and claws that seem like hair, and their carapaces are translucent like a ghost's. Yeti crabs may populate small hydrothermal envelopes with as many as 600 individuals per square meter. The Yeti crab needs the milder hydrothermal vents of the deep sea to survive, as the deep sea's frigid temperatures would kill it. It seems like it had come from another planet. The role of Yeti crabs in hydrothermal vent ecosystems is still a mystery. After observing large colonies of filamentous bacteria in the crab's arm hairs, the researchers hypothesized that the crabs farmed the bacteria and exploited them as a food source. The Antarctic Yeti crab is isolated at its warm water hydrothermal vent location, from the freezing polar waters of the surrounding deep sea, living in incredibly dense populations and getting their sustenance from bacteria they cultivate on their fur-like setae. This species has evolved to an environment that is only a few cubic meters in volume. Number 4. Third man factor. This notion of a third guy factor making a difference is remarkable. In 1933, a British adventurer named Frank Smith almost became the first person to reach the summit of Mount Everest. As they made their way up the treacherous and potentially dangerous mountain, his entire trekking group had to turn back, owing to the extreme conditions they had encountered. Smith persisted, but he was still about 1,000 feet from the peak. Though they said nothing at the time, the three men later recalled that often there were 4, not 3, people accompanying them on the journey. Smith said that halfway up the mountain, he reached into his pocket, pulled out a piece of Kendall mint cake, broke it in half, and turned around to give his climbing partner the other half. The term third man factor describes this phenomenon. In reality, though, no one was present. Extreme survival situations often result in people having supernatural experiences, such as seeing guardian angels, counselors, or even Christ-like figures. Understanding the factors that lead to and result in the sensation of being watched or followed might teach us a lot about our personalities and how we react to stressful situations. Number 3. Blood Falls. This 5-story blood-red waterfall flows gently from the Taylor Glacier in Antarctica's McMurdo Dry Valleys. The waterfall is a brilliant crimson hue, suggesting blood streaming from a glacial tear. This makes the existence of a waterfall on the frigid continent of Antarctica all the more remarkable. Don't be alarmed if you feel uneasy. It's not blood that gives Blood Falls its distinctive crimson hue. 5 million years ago, sea levels rose, burying East Antarctica and forming a salt lake. Because the lake was cut off from the rest of the continent by glaciers that formed millions of years later, the water at Blood Falls is effectively trapped in an aquatic time capsule 400 meters below the surface. The waterfall's characteristic red hue is caused by the iron-rich, highly salinized restricted lake combining with the oxygen outside. Iron gets its black hue from the same mechanism that causes metal to rust. The Blood Falls ecosystem demonstrates that life can persist even under the toughest environmental conditions on Earth. Blood Falls in Antarctica are a sight to behold, both visually and scientifically, even if they do not reveal proof of extraterrestrial life. Number 2. Time frozen in ancient cave. Stalactites and stalagmites, the sculptural formations that commonly cover the ceilings and floors of caves, are among the most reliable indications of earlier climates. Deposits from a cave in northern Greenland, about 12 centimeters deep, reveal remarkable information about the high Arctic environment over 500,000 years ago. Professor Gina Mosley, a geologist and cave scientist, obtained this information in 2005 on an exploratory journey to use in her paleoclimatics study in one of the world's most at-risk places. It has long been understood that Greenland's meltwater drains away through a large sub-ice network of drainage tunnels, and scientists have concluded that these hundreds of moulins serve as the surface entrances to this system. There is a chance that they are contributing to the instability in Greenland. Because certain features of former climates are comparable to the warming we are experiencing and will encounter in the future, these records serve as a vital reference to our future climate. These records seek to offer us an accurate illustration of what the temperature and environment would be like by relying on past eras where it was warmer than it is now. Number 1. Zombie virus. The thawing of the permafrost as a result of climate change may disclose a large store of ancient viruses, according to a group of European researchers who claim to have found 13 previously unknown viruses that had been preserved in the previously frozen ground of Russia's vast Siberian territory. In the process of decomposing stored organic molecules, more CO2 and methane are released into the atmosphere, increasing the concentration of these greenhouse gases. Valueless in terms of satisfying human inquisitiveness and contributing to scientific progress are the secrets they hold about the past and the benefits that may be gained by studying their biology. However, keep in mind that they are still completely undetected infectious pathogens with the potential to spread rapidly out of control. If we go too far into the frozen past, we may unwittingly unleash diseases into the contemporary global population, with no effective way of regulating their spread. Many virologists believe that the danger of novel viruses arising from the permafrost is lower than that of viruses now circulating among people. It's not the first time a creature has emerged from a deep freeze. They are better left alone in their frozen grave. Although it isn't secret, it isn't widely known. The majority of what happens in Antarctica is very technical, complex scientific material that is difficult to understand, making it unappealing to the majority of people. But if you're up for a scary find, Antarctica is the place. Thanks for watching. If you're ready for other incredible and weird things, kindly check out any of the videos shown on your screen right now and subscribe to our channel. See you there.